Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Cedar Falls Board of Education with the reminder that the actions taken at this table will focus on our students and their achievement. With that, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Susie Hines. Do I have a second?
Second.
And seconded by Jenny Leeper. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to public communication, the first person that I'd like to step up to the mic is Dan McDonald.
Good evening.
Good evening, Dan.
Dan McDonald here, Cedar Falls. I just wanted to...
Dan, maybe you want to move the mic, because otherwise they won't
There we
hear
go.
you.
Is that better?
Yep. that's
Okay.
good.
I'm not used to having to use a mic. I'm usually loud enough. Anyways, I wanted to come and talk to the school board and make sure that they realize, that y'all realize how much experience and knowledge you have with some of your workers. And in reference to the new school construction, as to making sure you get some of them involved with it. Just with the top 5 senior workers between the maintenance and custodian, you've got over 175 years of experience and knowledge. And I just wanted to try and talk to you and make sure that you get them involved. I mean, nobody knows what they need more than themselves. They're the experts. I mean, they don't have the degrees with all the engineering and everything, but they know what it takes to get the job done out there. And, you know, and getting them involved, investing in them, there's no better way to keep them engaged and get the best result that you can. So, just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Great, thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Moving on now, Shelley.
Hi, everybody. I've been meaning to write you a thank you, but I haven't gotten it done, and I thought, I'm just going to come up here and write this out. And
Shelley, will you
And,
state your first and last name, please?
yeah,
Thank you.
Shelley Drow, Michelle Drow, and did you need my address? No.
You can if you'd like.
No,
Last
I'd
time I
rather.
asked everyone to give their address.
That's what I
too.
thought.
Yep.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm here to tell you thank you. I was extremely grateful to all of you, and I know many people who were feeling like I was, for publicly stating our district's support for our LGBTQ plus students 2 weeks ago, to have the courage to admit that it was a mistake by not coming out quickly and strongly in support of our LGBTQ plus students was incredibly meaningful to me and many others. I felt Dr. Petit's sincere pain when he stated this mistake was heartbreaking and gut-wrenching. And to have the integrity to publicly apologize to this group of students and their supporters just made me more proud to work in this district. I am a teacher for all students, and I want to acknowledge each child's amazing and unique strengths. It is my feeling that being a member of the LGBTQ plus population is not the most interesting thing about them. Though I am not a part of that community and shouldn't speak for them, I can say that I am blown away by their courage many times. They are incredibly brave to stay true to themselves while struggling for acceptance daily. I personally look forward to the day when they are not only accepted, but they are celebrated for their many gifts that they bring to our world. Again, I want to thank you so much for supporting every student every day, and for publicly saying our LGBTQ plus students in particular, because I feel like they now know they are a part of that beautiful hashtag, every student every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Melinda?
Hello, my name is Melinda Beeland, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I live in Cedar Falls. I'm a past district employee and a spouse of a district employee and a parent of 3 boys, one that graduated in 2017, a 10th grader at the high school, and an 8th grader at Pete. As a straight, white, middle-class female who has seen firsthand how the lack of acceptance and belonging at the school led to increased suicide attempts, I have the privilege to speak to you today as an ally for those that don't have the same privilege. I didn't have to check my identity at the door in fear of that retaliation or judgment. I did want to make sure that conversation continued to happen, that it wasn't just a few people that spoke last time, but there is hundreds of people behind them. I wanted to express my thanks to the school board for the apology and willingness to hear the community's concerns with the district's response to the donut pop-up event. A group of us allies to the LGBTQ plus students of the Cedar Falls district asked 3 things last time at the school board meeting. One was to allow gay straight alliance clubs in all secondary buildings in addition to and not to be replaced by anti-bullying groups. A written statement in support of the LGBTQ students of the district, which we believe that the public apology stated by Dr. Petit at the last meeting met that request. We also requested that Iowa Safe School training for the board members, administration, teachers, staff, and students of the district be implemented. This group would like to continue to offer assistance to the district. We want to help to find a solution and equip the district in becoming a welcoming, safe environment for all students, including those that identify with LGBTQ+. We hope the district learns from and uses this crisis for growth and our students to become a welcoming community with not only our words, but our actions too.
Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
I'm looking for Tony. Tony. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry about my voice. I have a cold. Tony Wood, 1103 West 10th Street in Cedar Falls. First, in addition to what everybody else said, I do want to say thank you to all of you and to the staff and teachers of Pete for doing what they needed to do to have the LGBTQ plus community there be supported. I want to tell you a little story about when I was in high school. Back in the old age of 1993, I was a junior, and I was walking down the high school's hallway and with my friend Dan, who was an openly gay student, and some football players stopped him and started giving him a hard time, calling him the F word. And while Dan was like, just let it go, I got upset, kind of yelled at people, and I just keep thinking, I cannot believe that it's 2019 and this is still something that's going on. That made a mark on me. It's a lesson that I've taken my whole life and worked for equality for everybody, and especially the LGBTQ plus community. I have 2 children at Lincoln. They are both in kindergarten, they're twins, and I hope that I am raising them to be loving and kind and compassionate toward everybody, accepting of other people's differences, and to see that if somebody is different from them, that if they're being bullied, that they will do what they need to do to help them. Now, when I was in high school, we didn't really have Gay Straight Alliance or anything like that. If Dan had complained to teachers or the principal, they would have just said, oh, this is just boys being boys and who cares? Well, I cared. Luckily, Dan had a support network. I hope that through what happened at Pete with the donut pop-up, that we can continue to use it, as other people have said, as a learning experience, and that we can continue to allow people to learn more about LGBTQ rights and anti-bullying ways of dealing with things. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. And our final speaker will be Kendra.
My name is Kendra Woolard, and I live in Cedar Falls. When my husband and I moved back to Cedar Falls after Henry was born, I didn't check it out to see if it was a safe place for a straight person to live here. I didn't investigate our new Cedar Heights neighborhood, and I didn't deliver gifts to all my new neighbors in hopes they might accept us and for them to see that even though my husband and I were straight, we were just your basic middle-class family concerned with the same things that they probably were. When Eric and I take our walks along Rainbow and Hawthorne, I have never thought twice about holding his hand. I don't worry that someone will roll down their window and yell hate at us, or that someone will throw a full cup of soda, onto me because they see that we are a straight couple. When Eric and I went out to eat at Whiskey Road last Thursday, I didn't worry who saw us together. I didn't have a nervous and anxious pit in my stomach as I perused the restaurant, fearful of the hateful glares or under-the-breath comments. When I taught at Cedar Falls High School and most recently at Southdale Elementary, I had no problem introducing myself and my family. I freely talked about our family life with colleagues and students, administrators, and never ever thought twice about doing so. I didn't feel the need to seek out a few colleagues with whom I felt safe around, or who would accept me in the fact that I was straight and married to a man. For 10 years, I have sent Henry to school here, and I've never once felt afraid that he wouldn't be adored, inspired, cared for, and lovingly accepted for who he is by every teacher in the building. I have never once feared that he would spend an ounce of energy carefully navigating hallways, classrooms, and locker rooms for fear of hate finding him and making him feel threatened for who he is. He has never been made to feel wrong about who he is by a teacher in a classroom, or made to feel that life isn't worth living if this is how it's going to be. My privilege of being straight in Cedar Falls has helped me to turn a blind eye to the daily struggle of my LGBTQ friends and neighbors who live and teach in the same town, but who lead very different lives. Every negative situation I described above has happened to people I know in our school district. This isn't the town or district I know and love, but it is the one that they know and work in. It is now my privilege to help play a part in supporting the Cedar Falls School District, to lead with love, and to take action in the form of inviting Iowa Safe Schools to our district. I look forward to helping and supporting this effort in any way that I and the hundreds of families who support us can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all those that spoke this evening. Moving on now to communications. Student Representative Rachel, I saw walk in the back. Come on up. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. So yes, I'm Rachel Bogajar, and I'm here to tell you what is going on at the high school. And just as we talked about last time, a big thing right now is a food drive, and 2 weeks have gone by so fast because so much has happened. And so where before we talked about upcoming events, Chick-fil-A and Trunk or Treat, that is now in the past. And so both were very successful. Last Wednesday was our Chick-fil-A fundraiser, where we, from 5 to 8, 15% of the profits went towards this year the Northeast Iowa Food Bank. And so that was $223, which is just awesome. And then yesterday we had our trunk or treat at the high school, and that was super, 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 super awesome. Great turnout, and we just thank everyone in the community for coming and supporting. We had $359 raised in around approximately 550 cans. So that's just super exciting that the food drive is going well and we're making a difference $1 at a time. And so that's really cool. And then another thing for Student Senate that we're trying to work on is our winter formal. We're looking at trying to find a way to raise money for the Gil Tiber Scholarship Fund. And so that's something that we're trying to figure out a venue currently. Usually we do it at Orchard Hill Church, but they are booked, and so we are brainstorming. So that's just something that's going on besides the food drive. And then otherwise, just some highlights. Athletically, we're doing amazing. Not to brag, but volleyball is doing great. Football is doing great. I think, as far as I know, they're both undefeated. And then cross country, awesome. The boys are going down to state. I believe it is next Saturday. And then we have Mackenzie Michael for the girls, who's also going to state. So that's super exciting. And then not only athletically, but musically, we are doing phenomenal. We have 49 total all-staters. That is for band, choir, and orchestra, which is just super cool and just shows how we have academically and athletically and musically and all just everywhere. It's just so cool to see all these amazing things that we can support at the high school. And yeah, I also know that the play is coming up. I wish I had a date for that, but I know there's a tense feeling of it's almost here. So be on watch for that. But yeah, that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, I guess.
Any questions for Rachel?
Do you know the date of the winter formal yet?
We're looking at, I wish I knew the exact date. It's January. We were wanting it to be right after the finals. So you know how you come back from Christmas break and you're like, oh, we have finals. And then we don't have that Friday. And so we want it to be on that Saturday as a relaxing dance to raise for a good cause.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Janelle.
Hello, good evening. We'll jump right into the communications update for tonight's board meeting. First of all, just wanted to quickly mention last week was the National School Bus Safety Week, and would be remiss without mentioning our bus drivers who definitely don't get enough of a shout out and thanks across the school year. But this was provided by the Transportation Department. We have 43 bus drivers who transport over 2,400 students every day, and last year our buses and vehicles traveled 383,000 miles, and our route drivers have an average of over 8 years of experience, which is really great. We have some amazing drivers that drive for us many years, and Mr. Nefsker is actually coming back to be doing some bus driving for us, so we can count him into that number coming up as well. Just wanted to mention the high school planning we're continuing to move forward with. Last week, David Jakes was back in the schools with Envision Architecture. They had meetings with teachers throughout the week, administration, and then did a session with the planning team that included a lot of people from facilities, board members, as well as administrators and teachers to kind of move forward and talk through the process of where we're at. There was also a group that went and visited some high schools this past week. I'm gonna have an update on that at the next board meeting with some photos of some schools they saw. Rick Gersma went representing the facilities, so he had some great conversations with those folks. We had some teachers, and then architects, as well as Modis and some other folks went along as well with board members. So that is continuing to move forward. Congratulations to Bridget Adams. She was the Tools for Schools award winner from KWWL, and she's going to be using the grant to buy Android tablets for her students. She actually has a Girls Who Code Club at Holmes Junior High, so she'll be using those dollars for that. So congratulations to Bridget and those students. There is now a chess and checkers club at Aldrich Elementary, and there was a student that expressed wanting to organize something like this and have it as part of the school day. Mr. Batterson, Jed Batterson, was willing to be the sponsor for that. They had 21 students that showed up for their first meeting, and more students are definitely interested in being involved in that as well. So this is kind of across the district in the buildings, if students show interest in something and there's a faculty, a teacher that's willing to work with them on that, they're able to pursue that. And we're gonna watch real quick a video from the Maker Challenge, and this is gonna be some students from Aldrich and the musical instruments they created from that challenge that Brian Unruh did. I think that last shot was most impressive there. You could actually figure out how they did it. It was with the computer that they were able to do that. So we'll, the secondary, they have their challenge as well. So hopefully we'll be able to show some videos of that the next board meeting. This is kind of a neat, our CAP students, beginning of every semester do a design sprint. So they're basically challenged with a problem, and then they have a short time frame to come up with a solution, then present their solution as their groups. Matt Switzer at Southdale thought it was a great thing for his 6th grade students to try to do. So the CAPS program is even basically crossing many more grade levels than just at the high school level. So those students did their design sprint, and then the CAPS education students were on the panel to then give those students feedback on their presentation and their ideas. I think it's something that definitely hasn't been done in any other CAPS network school, and it's really exciting to see the possibilities of kind of developing those, the pitching and presentation skills across many of the grade levels. So that was a great thing, and the CAPS, especially Ethan Weekman, is really excited to see the possibilities of moving forward with that kind of concept. Wanted to give a quick congratulations to Sabrina and Sophia. They were part of the World Food Prize, went with Jason Lang, high school teacher, and represented Cedar Falls High School down in Des Moines at the Global Youth Institute. The Future Ready Iowa, which is an initiative from the governor that is focused on building Iowa's talent pipeline and working with different communities and career needs and jobs that are needed in different communities, that was hosted in Cedar Falls. The CAPS, our CAPS program has had a big piece of that many of the times with the Future Ready Summits that have been here in Cedar Falls, and Crichton Metals hosted this last one. So it was really neat to be able to see and talk through, see the partners and the different conversations that are happening in regards with education and then business as well. And I should have had this a couple weeks ago, but about a month ago, Orchard Hill got into their art room. So there are some quick photos of their new art room space. This was previously the gym space at Orchard Hill. So the window there actually faces out on Round Street. So it was really exciting for them to get into the art room, and very exciting to see some of the photos that they've been posting on that. And then we're gonna watch a real quick video of some other exciting news. This would be North Cedar's gym. Very exciting. They got into their gym last week, and those kids have been just on pins and needles waiting to get into that space because they have been into their cafeteria for a little while. So they've been able to see the space, but not quite use it yet. So it was really exciting for them to be able to get into their gym. So we'll be announcing really soon open house dates for both of those buildings, having their final construction projects done. This is a great photo of the marching band from their last performance at the home football game last Friday night. It's over 50 seniors that were in the marching band that were recognized, and Rachel mentioned the All-State, so I'll definitely be mentioning that at the next board meeting and sharing all of those names. But it's a really testament to the music program when you have over 50 seniors in the class that are part of the marching band, so congratulations to them on a great last performance. Also wanted to mention our high school girls rugby team's athletic club. They went to state this past weekend and they finished 4th place. So it was congratulations to them, and it's really great to see the excitement building, and for a team that just started a few months ago, it was a really great run for them. Our volleyball team, Rachel mentioned this as well, have had some great success. They were Missouri Valley Tournament champs, and now they're moving forward into the state tournament. Again, the men's cross country were district champs, so that whole team will be running at state. Although it's happening right now, wanted to really mention the mental health night happening up at the high school right now. Actually goes until 8 o'clock, so you'd be able to get there to see the vendors and then the sessions, and even maybe catch some of the keynote speaker, which is Joan Becker. Wanted to quick mention as thanks to Mercy One for being a sponsor of that event for us, and especially to our school counselors that put a lot of effort into planning that event. This is just a few upcoming things. Tomorrow night at 7 is going to be the volleyball team and their first game of the tournament. It'll be up at the high school starting at 7. Passes are not taken, so you'll have to pay if you have a pass. And then Friday night, we have our first round state football game against Dubuque Senior up at the Dome at 7 p.m. But you can actually buy your tickets in advance at the high school office from 7:30 a.m. to 3:15 Monday through Friday. Any questions?
Can you just clarify why people have to pay if they have a season pass?
They do have to pay if they have a season pass.
Yes, I know, but can you just clarify why?
Oh,
Because it's
I'm looking
Iowa
at
High
Suzie.
School Athletic.
Because it's Iowa High School Athletic Association. Yeah, it's playoffs, so that's why the passes don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Quick question about our bus drivers. I mean, we adore our bus drivers. A lot of schools in the state are having trouble attracting great bus drivers. How is Cedar Falls doing? Do we have some openings if we have people out there who want to carry our most precious cargo? Do we have anybody?
We are always looking for subs and additional drivers, but at this time, I know we have all of our positions full and occupied. But again, it's always a need as you continuously look at either subs or some of the activity routes that we run, just to make sure that we have enough people transporting our students safely.
And if someone's interested, they could see our website to?
Go to our website, contact our transportation department, contact our central office, either way.
Good question, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Moving on now to the Secretary's financial report.
Sure, if we could pull up the September Secretary's report. Okay, if we can go to the next screen. For September, for our general fund, which would be our 10, 12, 13, 14, and 16 fund. For our revenues for September, we had $4.1 million. For expenditures, we had 4.9. With our cash and investments, we had a fund balance of 1.3 million. Next, please. For our management fund, we had revenues of 18,000. We had expenditures of 5,000. With cash and investments, we had 441,000. You'll see that this fund balance is a little less than previous year, but we are currently utilizing that fund balance in regards to the management fund. For our capital projects, our revenues were 0. Our expenditures were 132,000. We had no cash and no investments remaining at the end of September. This was for our capital projects for Aldrich, North Cedar, and Orchard Hill, and as we are finishing that out, obviously, our funds will deplete. This will go dormant now for a few months until we start our new project with our high school. You'll then see this fund come back within the Secretary's report. For our SAVE, we had revenues of 455,000, expenditures of 906. We do have our transfer out every month of 218,000, and that's for our debt service fund. With our cash and investments, we had a total of 5.7 million. As a reminder, we do have restricted funds within this of 995,000. So our available balance for ending balance for September was 4.7 million. Next would be our PEPL, which our revenues were 134,000, expenditures 366,000. Cash and investments, we had 2.9 million remaining for September. For our debt service, we had revenues of 88,000. We had our transfer in from our SAVE of 218,000. We had 0 expenditures, and as a reminder, expenditures are 2 times a year, in December and in June, so you will not see any expenditures for some time yet. As well, then we have a fund balance of 766,000. Our student activity, we had revenues of 126,000. We had expenditures of 67,000. With cash and investments, we had fund balance of 637,000. For our trust and agency funds, we had revenue of 23,000. We had expenditures of 55,000, and with cash and investments, we had a fund balance of 255,000 for September. For our enterprise fund for our food service, we had revenues of 108,000. We had expenditures of 279,000. That's getting the school year started. So with our cash and investments, we had a fund balance of 690,000. And our high school student coffee shop, they had revenues of 1,500, expenditures of 891. With cash and investments, they had a balance of $6,068. And then finally, we have our River Hills Consortium. Again, this is a flow-through account, which we provide those payments to River Hills or Central Rivers AEA. We had revenues of $2,095, expenditures final payments of $110,000, and this should end up at 0 at each month, so dependent upon the payment timing. So we had a fund balance of 0 remaining. Is there any questions for September?
Any questions for Danelle? Yes, Jeff.
So I understand that our SAVE account is going down because that was a planned reduction because we
Yes.
dedicated funds to our elementary additions and new elementary Aldrich. The general fund, our gap seems to have grown a little bit. We're up to about $1 million gap in that. I know we have some funding issues and that kind of, but can you just kind of talk to as far as what's the plan going forward in order to make sure that we've,
Yeah.
obviously that's our fund that runs the school, pays the
Does.
salaries, so.
Yep, that fund fluctuates dependent upon the timing sometimes. So you'll see it anywhere from, right now, anywhere from about 850 to $1 million, as you had indicated. Those funds are in arrears. We are receiving our payments now for this new fiscal year beginning in September. You'll see for October quite the payment because we received those in October and April. We've done some cash reserves in regards to obtaining those cash funds. So we should slowly begin to see that stabilize for future use. So, yep,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Any other
absolutely.
questions for Danelle? If not, we will put the Secretary's financial report on file for audit. Thank you.
Yes.
Moving on now to item F on the agenda, the resolution appointing paying agent, bond registrar, transfer agent, approving the paying agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent agreement, and authorizing execution of same.
Yeah, it's a lot. This is actually the final process in regards to our $10 million revenue bonds. This is just a formality. Actually, the next 3 agenda items are formality, and it's a requirement of the Iowa Code. We are requesting at this time that we move forward with appointing a UMB Bank, which is out of West Des Moines. They're formerly known as Bankers Trust. The district to be the paying agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent. The district currently uses UMB Bank for our series 2013, 16, and 17, and we have a fantastic working relationship with them. I would highly suggest moving forward with them.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move that the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education approve resolution appointing UMB Bank N.A. of West Des Moines, Iowa, to serve as paying agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent, approving the paying agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent agreement, and authorizing the execution of same.
Thank you, Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Jeff Hassman. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on now to item G, approval of the tax exemption certificate.
Yep, again, this is just a formality in regards to moving forward with our sales tax revenue bonds. This tax exempt certificate designates the $10 million bonds as qualified tax exempt and will be used for the benefit of the public and will not be used for private trade or for non-tax exempt equity. So we would recommend moving forward with the acceptance of the tax exempt certificate.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education approve the form of tax exemption certificate.
Thank you, Jenny. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Sasha. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on now to item H, resolution authorizing the terms of issuance and providing for securing the payment of school infrastructure, sales, service, and use tax revenue bonds.
Yep, finally, really, we're moving forward with the issuance and security of the $10 million SAVE bonds, Series 2019. Just a reminder of those terms. The bond date will be November 12th, 2019. The issuer is JP Morgan Chase, and which was previously approved at the last board meeting, as well as the interest rate of 1.9, including the maturity date of June 1st, 2030, with those bonds being callable as of June 1st, 2026.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing and providing for terms of issuance and securing the payment of $10 million of school infrastructure sales, services, and use tax revenue bonds, Series 2019 of the Cedar Falls Community School District, State of Iowa, under the provisions of Chapter 423E and 423F of the Code of Iowa, providing for a method of payment of said bonds.
Thank you, Alan. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Hearing,
Well, I was just, we've said this, I think, for 5 consecutive meetings, because we've gone through this process for selling these $10 million bonds, that this is not an impact on the local tax levy rate. I think it's important to note. And with the high school project, the general obligation bond was for $69.9 million. The district said that we would utilize $43 million from our revenue from the 1-cent sales tax statewide. So this is $10 million of that $43 million. So again, it's part of the commitment that we knew as a district that we would utilize to build the new high school for Cedar Falls Community School District.
thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on now to the appointment of board member to the IASB Delegate Assembly, Iowa School Board Association Delegate Assembly.
Yes, annually we have the annual convention down in Des Moines, and each year we do need to have a designated delegate assembly member from the school board represented to be able to cast the votes from the school district. This is really kind of timing now, and it's different than in the past. Typically, we do this when we select our committees as a school board and a school district, but with the election changing this year from September to November, the timing's a little bit different. So it's really who has interest, who would be willing to do that, and we have changed that kind of year to year, but I think Sasha did it maybe 2 years ago, Jeff did it maybe 3 years ago, and I think maybe Jeff did it last year. So it's really up to who has interest and who will plan to be down there on that Wednesday.
Are you still a part of the Legislative Action Committee?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. So I will be there, but it would be nice to have another representative from our district if somebody's willing to come. But if nobody else can, I will be there in that capacity.
I would be willing to come if no one else is interested in doing it. If we don't want me doing it 2 years in a row, I'd understand that too, and if anyone else would like to step up, but I could certainly do that.
It looks like by the smiles on their faces that they would love you to be able to do that. We don't need a motion, do we?
We do not, no, we just need to be able to have that delegated.
Thank
So,
you, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to superintendent's report.
Just a couple different items. Again, the state convention, November 20th and 21st. November 25th is the board meeting with the ISB follow-up. Again, tonight going on now, we're excited to have our event with our Let's Talk Mental Health, and a couple different groups spoke or individuals spoke tonight, and I think it's important to know that actually one of the vendors there this evening is Iowa Safe Schools, and it's kind of exciting to have them in our district tonight as well. So
And I know you've had some communication with them.
we have, yep, I have.
All right. Any questions or comments from board members?
Joyce, I do have a couple questions. So first, when we're doing public speaking, it was kind of mentioned to me, especially, we've had people coming and speaking to the board meeting on, of heightened emotional topics. So do we require that they give their name and address here at the school board, or can they just say, I think it's nice to know that they're a resident of the Cedar Falls School District, so we know that they're speaking on behalf of our district stakeholders, but do we require they give their
We don't
address?
require it, and last time we had so many, and
Right.
we did have someone that requested outside of the school district, so I just requested everyone to give their name and address.
Right. It was just raised to me that sometimes there could be some safety issues
Oh, with the
with
address.
giving your address. So maybe we just want to review how we do that, and if we, and again, I'd like to know that they're a part of our school district, but don't necessarily
It
need
was
to know.
just, it was my
Okay.
call on that.
Yeah,
Tony.
okay, just had that question. And then in relation to one of the speakers saying, in terms of having GSAs at our secondary schools, do we, my kids have been in the secondary schools, and I guess I just always assumed that we would allow GSAs at our secondary schools. Is that something that we are looking at, or?
No, we do actually in each of our secondary schools. They are named different things at different times. They go typically each year. Different students might organize those. With our policy, we have to have an adult supervisor within the room, not to take part, but certainly to be there. And sometimes they take on different names. Sometimes they take on different purposes. But we have at least 2 in the different secondary buildings that specifically are focused on GSA.
So that is something we do allow and would be allowed unrelated to a bullying group?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
and we have multiple different groups and student activity groups that meet frequently, similar to the chess and checker club that's now meeting at Aldrich.
Right, okay, thank you.
Good question. Thank you. One thing I would say is I had the opportunity to go with several to visit high schools this weekend or last week, Thursday and Friday. And one question we did ask of some students, and what would keep you at the high school, especially on closed campuses? And I chuckled tonight when you showed the balance of our coffee shop, because immediately they said, we leave because there's a Starbucks. And so that was the only reason they left their campus. It wasn't because of the food, it was because they didn't have a Starbucks. So I looked down the table and I saw that you were smiling at that too. So anyway, if we can have a Starbucks, I think we can keep them. But
Or one of our local
vendors,
businesses
yes,
that wants
yes.
to
That's right,
work
yeah.
out of our school. We would like that.
We can have the North Cedar Blend offered at our high
That's
school.
right.
cafeteria.
That's
Absolutely,
right.
that's a great idea. Okay, well, any other comments? Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank all district personnel who were in charge of or helped put on the Pack the Dome the other night, on Friday night. It was an amazing display of a lot of talent in a lot of areas with our music and our cheerleaders and performers and, the football team, of course. But yeah, I mean, it was just a really fun, and there was a lot of people wearing red that night, and made a few friends. So.
And you have a second opportunity this Friday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, thank
Yes.
you.
I believe we have an election coming up, so I do hope that people, if you have an absentee ballot, make sure you get that absentee ballot back in. I hope you do look at our candidates and look at them closely. I'm very proud to work with these people, and I do hope that we can elect more good people to our board. So our election date is November 5th. Okay, I didn't want to say 4th. November 5th, Tuesday, so please get out and vote and check out our candidates. We have some very good candidates ready for school board.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's been moved by Jenny Leeper. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Dr. Heisterkamp. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for your comments tonight, everyone.